Hey Hebrew fans, this is Todd. Today I saw a question on Facebook, and somebody bought a He-Man action figure from China, and they wanted to know, is this figure a knockoff or real? So let's go ahead and talk about it. Now, right here I have three action figures that are all He-Man figures, and two of these are legit, and one of these is a China knockoff. So let's go ahead and talk about it. This is not the China knockoff. This is one of the original He-Man figures. You can tell because he has red around his eyes. That's this way you can tell that. And his cross crotch section is whiter and painted brown. Here's the second release one. Again, he doesn't have as much red around his eyes, so this is the newer one. And you can see in his crotch section that it is smaller. So you can spot the first from the second. Now, in the knockoff, which happens to be this one right here, and I've already used his armor for a custom. I painted it because they had a really bad paint job on the armor. As you can see in this one, the crotch section is actually just the same color as the skin. It's not painted at all. Now this one did have floppy legs, so I already did my leg repair on it, so unfortunately I can't show you the floppy legs. That's one way you can tell. The other way you can tell is the face. Notice the face in this one looks just a little different. It's kind of strange looking. You can't really put your finger on what's different about it, but there's something different about it. Now, a lot of times I do what I call the hair club for He-Man fix, and you can see that he has kind of the He-Man receding hairline, and a lot of my figures do get that, especially even the ones that are not from China that are knockoffs. But what's interesting is if you take a look, this one I hear still is loose, or I haven't fixed it yet, but this is the original, and see how the head's shaped. It's got that huge spot that matches up with the hair, and they just line right up and go together. And a lot of times what causes the hair to have the high look is the glue they use to glue it. So your goal is to get the glue out of there, and then the hair will fit the way the Four Horsemen intended, which looks way cooler. But on the other ones, when you pull it apart, here's one right here that I pulled apart. I want you to notice when I take the hair off how the back is shaped completely different. So on the knockoffs, when they made the two pieces fit together, the hair does always sit high even if the glue is removed, but it's also shaped differently on the inside. So that's part of the problem, is trying to find or trying to fix the hair. It takes a lot of sanding on these ones. And the face paint just looks really strange. Now, what's interesting is even though these figures are knockoffs, there are some advantages. One is the boots are actually made better. So I actually like to get the knockoffs for the better boots. They don't fall over as easy. The rubber's better material. Now the paint on the loincloth is not nearly as nice. It's thick, and you lose a lot of detail around that loincloth. So you can also spot the fakes is you'll see the thick orange paint. Also the coloring is different too. I don't know if you can see it in the camera or not. So I get my light in here. But the knockoffs have a brighter orange. I actually like the brighter orange better. I think it's kind of cool looking, but I don't know. It's kind of your choice. If you like the contrast difference, you can see the darker is darker, or the darker orange is actually darker, and the lighter orange is actually lighter. So it actually has better contrast. I like it. And again, I said I've already reused the armor, already painted it for a custom figure, so I can't show you the armor. But usually the armor has a thicker paint, and usually it's on the little red pieces, and usually it has little nicks and chips, or just not quite painted very, very, very clean. All right, so here is one of my knockoffs that I actually redid a little bit just so that it would be usable for me. I first of all swapped out his head. The head I use is from the 2-pack, and so this is actually from a 2-pack of the Skeletor He-Man 2-pack, and you can see he has the blue eyes. And so at first glance it's like, well, something does look kind of strange. Well, it's because it's the newer head with the newer paint job where they decided to give more detail on the face. And then I also painted underneath, and I use a darker brown so I know that it's the knockoff, as opposed to the originals have a lighter color. So I decided to match the loincloth better with a darker color. And then I swapped out the armor on this one. So this one has the original armor. And once I did all that, then I had a figure that was pretty good. You'll find that the knockoffs may have some strange little, like this here you can see it has like some damage on the shoulders and stuff. But as far as the articulation, they actually work really well and is really nice articulation. Another point that's different is right here, right in that spot. It's always seems to be sharp on all the knockoffs. So you can see here's the knockoff right here. It's almost like they can't get the plastic to cut just right in their molds or something. But you can see on the originals, it's nice and smooth and just blends right in. The funny part is the knockoffs are actually, I believe, higher quality than the new Super 7 figures. In fact, the new Super 7 figures almost all have this sharp edge here as well, which is kind of interesting. So, if you want to get the knockoffs for 40 bucks, it's a really great deal. You're not going to find a original He-Man figure for that price. Just know that you will see the rubber is softer and more flexible. The paint apps are not quite as good on them, and the boots are better. So that is kind of an interesting query. And you may have to repaint the armor. So just keep that in mind. And another thing that's kind of interesting is if you use a black light, now it's going to be kind of hard to see because there's so much lighting here for the thing, but the faces actually look different. So on the originals, version 2, you can see the face with the black light is lights up, where with the knockoff, the face will actually be darker. So that's one thing you can tell. Now, this is not a tell-all for everything, because obviously there's other things that factor into that. Like an example is the first one. Also, the face matches the knockoff where it goes darker because of the paint style they used. And on the new one, the face also goes darker too. So that's not the tell-all. Another way is the actual shoulders themselves. So if you take a look at the shoulders and highlight them, you'll see that it turns white where the joint is on the real figures. See how it's lighter in color with the black light on the shoulders. But when you go to the knockoffs, it is the same color as the arm. It doesn't actually go lighter. It actually is the same color. So that's something else you can tell is this little joint spot right there. Now again, not all the figures have the same thing. You'll notice different versions of He-Man that's released. Some have the white shoulders and some don't. But for the second release one, it's really obvious to tell that the original one has the white shoulders when you use the black light. All right, so the quickest way to tell if you have a knockoff before you buy it on eBay is just look at the face. If the face looks a little awkward, you're not quite sure what's different about it, chances are it's their paint job they did. It just looks a little strange. And that's the first tell right there, that the face, there's something weird about it. And if you don't want a knockoff, don't get it. The second one is the sloppy paint job. And the third one, after you get it, of course then it's too late, is just turn it over and look and see what color under the loincloth it is. And if it is standard skin color, then you have a knockoff. Because they usually paint the figures under the loincloths. All right, well that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, post them below. I do a lot of custom figures, so I mess around with, I mean, the knockoffs, like I said, are great for just using for a custom figure or to steal the boots to put on other figures. But you can even see the coloring difference right off the bat. I mean, the knockoffs are kind of a brighter color, where the non-knockoffs are a little darker. But if you only have just one figure, of course, you can't compare that. But the quick way to tell is the weird paint on the face and, of course, under the loincloth not being painted. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. And I started working on my Evelyn origin story, so just hang tight, and hopefully I'll have it done. Hopefully this weekend I'll have it done. If not, I'll have it done by next weekend. So wait for that origin story. And then also coming up, as many of you keep hearing, I'm going to work on that Ice Armor He-Man and show you guys all the steps for making your own Ice Armor He-Man, the cool cuffs and everything else. I'm getting a lot of parts together to make them. So you can see a lot of times when I make a custom figures, I cut off those parts to make the figures. So it'll just be a matter of time before I get all the parts together. In fact, hold on a quick second. Here's one of the Ice Armor He-Mans I bought to use to make my custom. And one thing you'll notice is this arm is not painted and this one is painted for the cuff. So to do a really good Ice Armor He-Man, you want the cuffs to match, either both non-painted or both painted. So it takes two Ice Armor He-Mans to make one cool custom figure. So I will be showing you guys those techniques later on. So stay tuned for that. And that is all that I have. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. And again, post any comments you have. And until next time, share, like, and send them around. Talk to you later. Bye now.